Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe, and I wanted to do a quick chat with everyone about a game I just beat, The Wonderful 101, on the Wii U. That's kind of a mouthful. So, The Wonderful 101 is a game that normally comes up if somebody mentions maybe hidden gems, if you will, or games that haven't been played a ton on the Wii U. Someone will say, "Oh, well, what haven't I played? What's a game I might not have heard of or may not have played? I played all like the mainstays." The main Nintendo IPs, and someone will say, "Play the Wonderful 101." And I would say the same. I recommend it definitely. But, and this is a very big but. Um, and first off, just to foreshadow this, before I had a Wii U, my buddy Israel, who used to do the podcast with me, it was Israel Pacheco, Lewis Clark, Sega Driven, Cody from Sonic Lopsided, and Keithy from Keithy Huntington's channel. Israel was really hyped about this game. He was one of the first people I knew to get a Wii U years back when they first came out, and he was all excited. He was picking up all the main big releases. He picked it up and he never played it. So, you know how that happens sometimes. I guess you pick up a game, you tend to throw it on the side and like, "Well, oh, I'm going to get to it," and you never do. That's happened with me with one of my Xbox One games, Divinity Original Sin, which I really want to play, but I just haven't had the time because it's kind of a long RPG. So anyhow, now that that's out of the way, the Wonderful 101, the best way for me to put it is it sort of looks like Pikmin, but it doesn't really play like Pikmin. It's not so much a strategy game, it's more of a beat 'em up. However, this is a big however, there are different parts of the game that aren't beat 'em ups. So you'll push the button and you'll hit things, but you also can either use the touchpad or, well, the gamepad or the right joystick to draw things. There's predetermined things. You can't just draw anything. So if you want to draw you get different characters, and each of the characters lets you draw something different, which turns into a different weapon. If you draw a straight line, you can turn it into a sword. If you draw a circle with like a little line on top, you can make a bomb. Depending on the characters you get in the game, it'll show you when you acquire these characters what you can draw. There's like maybe 7 or 8 main guys out of the 101 or 100 initially that you can acquire. A lot of them are no-name guys. A lot of them are they'll just say their name quickly, but they don't exactly do anything in terms of these special attributes and weapons. So that's a really cool element to the game, but it can also be frustrating because sometimes you're trying to time things and like draw something quickly and it's just not coming out and you're drawing one thing and meaning to draw another and like some of the shapes can be similar because really how many simple shapes can you think of? Like there's a triangle, then there's something sort of like a triangle, but it's not a triangle. So there's like they're very similar in terms of what they want you to draw. So that could be a little annoying. As well, I started the game on, I think, easy or normal. I think it was easy. It was really hard. I went to very easy, and it was still pretty hard. The reason for this, is there's jumping segments in the game that can be kind of frustrating, but also, again, there's things with timing where you have to maybe use one superpower and then draw something else and use another, and it kind of can be annoying. Also, sometimes they don't explain things well, and you'll be hitting something over and over and not doing any damage because you're using the wrong type of thing or you're not maybe finding something to interact with and then using your weapon. Like sometimes you have to open things or draw something around something. Like there's just a lot of little nuances. So I would not recommend this game to a child at all, even on very easy, because even on very easy, maybe I just suck at games, but it was still sort of difficult in ways. Um, the gameplay is really fun. As I said, if you like beat 'em ups, you will most likely like it. There's also quick time events where you have to draw something within like 10 or 12 seconds. So it'll make you if you draw when you draw the fist. The fist is like the main character's weapon. It's like this big fist that you can create. You draw a circle. So once in a while, like usually near the end of a level, the guy will jump up and go to like attack something really big, and it'll say like Wonder Punch, and you have to draw the fist really quickly and then push A, and you have like 10 seconds to do so or you fail the quick time event. There's also parts in spaceships where you have to shoot other ships, which looks a lot like a isometric view. So it sort of reminds me of like Zaxxon, I think it is, on the 32X, sort of like this top-down isometric view where you're flying around shooting bad guys. Um, there's other different modes while you're playing where you'll sort of like fly in space and have to shoot things behind the ship. Um, you control a robot near the end of the game, a really cool robot. So there's lots of different elements of the game that aren't just beat 'em up segments. One of my favorites, which was sort of difficult, even on very easy, but I did enjoy it, was it's a Punch-Out clone. So you'll get into a robot or you'll make some like super whatever, like some big robot, almost like Power Rangers. That's sort of what Wonderful 101 reminds me of. And you'll get in this big robot and you play a game of Punch-Out pretty much, to where you're dodging and trying to hit when you have an opening. And when you eventually knock the other character down, the boss or whoever it is, they kind of like sway side to the side, and that noise from Punch-Out is like reminiscent of Punch-Out, where it's like wah 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 wah, and then boom, the guy hits the ground. And it can happen to you as well. You can get knocked out, and you have to wiggle the joystick to try and get up. So it's not just a straight beat 'em up. There's lots of strategic elements. It's all these segments I'm talking about, and overall, it's a good game. However, it's long as hell. It felt very long to me, and a lot of it, my eye is twitching because the game was annoying me at points. There was a time I'd wanna, like, sit down and play 30 minutes, and I knew with that game I couldn't do that, and that sucks for me because sometimes I lack time and I only wanna play maybe 30 minutes or an hour, but with a game like this, you don't know how long the levels are gonna be. There's 9 main missions with 3 or 4, usually 3 missions in each. So, that's 27 missions, and some missions are really fast. Some missions take like 45 minutes or an hour. It just really depends how good you are, if you can pick the gist up of what you have to do in that level. If you're looking for all the secrets and mystery stuff and special missions, you can also collect other people for your troop, your group, that you may not see on the main path, that you can go back and then rescue and then make them part of your team. That was one of the really fun aspects to me, was going back and trying to find these other characters that I was missing on my team, even though I don't really think they added much to the game. Um, excuse me. As I said, the game was very difficult. It's not something I would go back to and play again. So keep that in mind in terms of replayability, though I did get a pretty lengthy campaign. Um, and my only other gripe with the game, and I hope it doesn't sound like I'm really bagging on the game because the game is very good, but my only gripe was some of these like cutscenes are very long-winded, lots of talking, and at the end of the game, you fight like 5 different renditions of the final boss in different ways. And it's like annoying things. It's not just like, oh, do this and beat him or whatever. It's like there's this one part in particular that sticks out to me where there's these shields and you have to make a really big weapon and break the shields down, but they take forever to break down and forever to like, it's like all about timing and waiting for you to, get more characters on your side, waiting for you to draw this big weapon and break the shield on a few hits. And if you don't do it the way they want you to, these big like bubbles pop up on screen with one of the characters and they'll say like, you have to do this, like sort of like a tip or a hint. And they can like distract from the gameplay so much because the characters that pop up on screen to tell you these things are fucking huge. The gameplay is great. It's really fun. It's tight. A lot of cool stuff happening. I really enjoy the segments, but even till like the credits, as the credits are rolling, well, first off, you beat the boss, right, of the game. I'm not going to ruin too much. You beat the boss after his like fifth rendition of him, each of them being all different, very different than one another. And then there's an epilogue, and you're like, oh god, there's more. And like I felt like at this point I was kind of pulling my hair out already with the final boss. The epilogue's okay. It's kind of a nice tie up, pretty short. Then the credits roll, and I go to sit back. I'm like, all right, cool. You feel accomplished. You beat this video game, whatever. And then you can play little mini segments while you're watching the credits. And then at the very end, it shows you like a tiny, tiny, brief moment of like now. Um, Again, I don't want to give away too much, so I'm not going to explain that. But great game. Liked the character design and all the characters, and they had a lot of personality, and the beat 'em up sections were really fun, and trying to find all the little secret areas and the characters that you can to get new characters, you draw a circle around them. And if you do, you can then get them into your group. Sometimes you'll just get like normal citizens or police officers or firefighters, and then other times you'll do it and it'll like pop up on the screen that you have a new hero. With this, they don't really have special abilities per se, but it will give you more detail about those heroes. Um, I would have given the game probably like an 8 if I had to give it a score. Like it's a really good game, but between how long and drawn out these cutscenes and dialogues are, some of the difficulty spikes, and just by the end, it was just really long in the tooth. It just like wouldn't end. I felt like it's like all right already. I'd probably give it a 7.5. I'd knock off half a point for that stuff. It's still really enjoyable. If you're looking for a game you haven't played on the Wii U and you're an adult, mind you, not a kid, and you want something that will be kind of challenging but still fun, I would wholeheartedly recommend The Wonderful 101. But man, some of it was just so stressful, You want to sometimes kick back and relax with the game, and this really wasn't that type of game, even though it sort of portrays itself that way with the lighthearted humor and the cutesy little characters. But definitely an under the radar type of game. I would say check it out. And yeah, it took me a little longer than I expected to beat it, but lots of fun. The Wii U has a lot of like really great games on it that I would have missed out on had I not purchased one. So I'm glad I did. So check out the Wonderful 101, guys. Tell me in the comment section if you've played it, if you've beat it, if you loved it, if you hated it, whatever you thought. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.